Now, I got to tell you, pre-COVID, I traveled a lot. And so I would walk through the Dallas Love Field Airport and think, oh my goodness, we ought to be in here. Like we truly ought to be here and in here. And how I am, Tex, kind of like world domination, takeover spirit. I'm like, we got to do a takeover of this airport. And of course, when I start to envision a complete takeover, having the Mavs out there, a whole new look, of course, you know who I thought about. There's one person who I know who carry out that vision for us, and that's of course you, Tex. So it was. Thank you for like really leading and carrying out that vision. Why did you think it was a good fit for us?
I just think, it was an interesting time, obviously, with COVID hitting, and I just think it was something that we could do to obviously speak to the team spirit, but just also to uplift everybody, and their coming and goings. And it gave us an opportunity with the airport being down traffic-wise for a while, that when everybody got a chance to start to come back to travel, they got something that was warm and inviting and spoke to them from this city.
Mr. Faust.
Hey, how you doing? Hey, what's everyone. It's all good. And welcome to Lead with Love, presented by Dallas Love Field Airport. I'm James Faust, Artistic Director for the Dallas Film and the Dallas International Film Festival.
Hey, I'm Barak Epstein. I am the one of the owners of Aviation Cinemas, which runs the Texas Theater, and I'm the co-founder of the Oak Cliff Film Festival.
So each episode, Lead with Love joins with different voices of Dallas together to talk about how strong leadership, respect of diversity and inclusion, and celebration of local culture makes a difference in our community.
Yeah, so even if you're not like a movie nerd like us, we want you to leave your questions and comments below, and we'll do our best to answer as many we can during the Q&A at the end, so stick around.
Yeah, so most people know I'm a huge Mavs fan, and it's been a tough year, up and down, a lot of injuries and everything. But I think I think I might be headed towards another time where I'm buying everybody a drink because they might win a championship. I don't know. It could happen.
Yeah, you think they're going all the way? Getting better?
A healthy Porzingis makes me think that with a locked-in Porzingis, a healthy Luka, they could bring home some hardware. It could happen. I mean, crazier things. 10 years ago, we didn't think it was going to happen. I mean, I had no idea it was going to happen. But I really got excited for the Mavs when I first saw the images of the Mavs takeover at level 2 in Love Field Garage C. It's amazing. It's such an immersive experience. It kind of gets me real fired up for the Mavs and for Dallas.
So that's where I should park in Garage C when I fly out next time at Love Field?
Yeah, you should definitely when you fly out of Love Field. Oh, yeah, and don't forget when you fly out of Love Field there.
Oh, we should wear our masks?
Yeah, we should wear
our fancy masks. Yeah, they don't fit over earphones very good on podcasts.
It doesn't. But look, see, you can see that? With love.
Oh, my God.
Yeah, that was cool. I like these masks. I'm glad they sent these. I'm going to wear those. Masks are a thing now. All right, so let's talk about the show. We were talking about what diversity, inclusion, and what we do and all that. So, Barak, you guys have a festival coming up. So let's talk about what inspired you to start the Oak Cliff Film Festival.
Well, so we restarted the Texas Theater, which was built in 1931, in 2010. And the original goal was that the Texas Theater was going to be this place that would show indie films, stuff you wouldn't see that were playing around. We had independent cinemas here, but not the ones playing the really small films, and also repertory events and live events. We realized pretty early on that showing a film on the indie circuit on a Tuesday night at 9:00 wasn't exactly the way to run an operation. For a while, I had a series called the Bad Business Decision series, which didn't work out. So we figured out a way to recontextualize festival style movies, very small independent movies, and also bigger movies from other countries and other places that weren't getting shown. And we were like, we should start another film festival in Dallas. And we felt like there was a lot in Dallas. Obviously, Dallas International was the big one. But we felt like there's enough room to show films that necessarily may not have been able to fit in your program. So that's kind of why we started it back in 2012. And we were just chatting a second ago. You have been involved with Dallas Film Festivals since like 1999 or something, right?
Yeah, it's actually nuts. So originally, before it was Dallas International Film, it was AFI Dallas, and before it was AFI Dallas, we were a small festival called the Deep Ellum Film Festival in Deep Ellum, Texas, started by Michael Caine. He and his wife Melina, then just another person. They weren't together then. They had an idea about doing a film festival that was also a cancer charity. And so we raised money through the Deep Ellum Film Festival for not cancer research, but for those suffering to pay like bills and car note or get groceries and things like that. And as that went along, it was really cool that we just discovered it became a really fun thing that we were doing these films in crazy places that, like in restaurants and outside. And then we caught the attention of AFI out in LA, American Film Institute. And we went to the city of Dallas and asked them, hey, we're thinking about doing this. What kind of support? And Michael being a graduate, and Linear Timberland came in, and I think Todd Wagner came in, who's a board member for AFI. And then we became the AFI Dallas Film Festival, and that lasted for about 3 years. Things changed, and we wanted to have a little more ownership about Dallas because we love the city. And so we became the Dallas International Film Festival. And during this time, I was either a producer or just watching films, to managing director to just senior programmer. And I guess in 2010, when we became DIF, that's when I turned around and became the artistic director. So it's been a crazy journey to be here. And yeah, there are a lot of film festivals in town. There are, and
but it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing that a lot of these film festivals are coming, and there's room for more. There's a lot more films being made these days, and we need to figure out ways to curate programs for specific audiences so they'll see these films. Otherwise they might not. Otherwise you're just looking endlessly scrolling through Netflix and you don't know what's good.
Yeah, it's good to have choices here. It's really good to have choices. Let's see here. Oh yeah, so now this one.
How have we championed diversity? How have you championed diversity, Mr. Faust?
Well, it's funny, and I think sort of you kind of alluded to it earlier. You did a particular a track of film. So what we try to do quite a bit is, find that sort of, what's happening in the world and say, look, things are, social justice is a hot topic and definitely needs to be. So we look and say, if we can find a track of films that sparks conversation about social justice, social injustice. And same thing with female filmmakers. I mean, it's one thing just to have, a panel on women making film. It's another thing to have showcasing films by the women directors, women creators, and having those creators to talk about that. And I think the thing about a film festival people don't realize is you're not just watching the films. A lot of the times you're enjoying the company of the filmmakers. And if you can find films that are made by people of color, women and people of color, and sort of cultures that you're not familiar with, and I think you're doing a service to promoting diversity and inclusion.
Yeah, I mean, very similar to the Oak Cliff Film Festival. We cast a wide net when we're looking for films and filmmakers, and more so in in recent years, a lot more filmmakers of color and women filmmakers and other people are telling their stories, and they're getting their films out there. And still, though, some of these films are not getting onto the mainstream. So we want to be able to find these films and give them big voices and big audiences. This year specifically, our opening night film is called Summer of Soul, or When the Revolution Could Not Be Televised.
Love that movie.
It's great. It played Sundance earlier this year. It's the first film by Questlove from The Roots, and it's going to be our opening night film. And I think it kind of just gives a big like fist fight to the world right now in a good way, because it's a film, it's a positive film, but it also kind of tells a little bit about the climate in 1969 and maybe how it's not that different than 2020. So it's really a good film for what's happening in the world right now, and I'm really excited to have that one. We've got a lot of other big films that we that are kind of new and diverse voices. Our closing night film is a film called Mogul Mowgli, which stars. It's basically, it's very similar to Sound of Metal, but in this film he's a rapper and who has a condition that's getting worse. It's by a filmmaker named Bassam Tariq. And we've got this great U.S./Mexico border film called Off the Road by Jose Primar, about these car races that happen by the border, and it has this I call it it's something about Mary style Greek chorus of these mariachis that play interludes in between each section of the film. So a lot of great stuff that we're excited about, specifically this year in our Oak Cliff Film Festival, which is June 24th to June 27th, which is a lot of diverse filmmakers.
So when you're looking at film, this is something that kind of sort of leads into the next question in a way, but when you're hunting out films, do you ever sit back, and I kind of find myself doing this, looking at what's missing in Dallas, because Dallas is such an international city, and I always think, okay, so who doesn't have a voice that I can show that on screen? Do you ever find yourself going, there's this community down the street, you guys on Jefferson, Oak Cliff, that maybe they don't see. There's a chicken raising spinach farm that maybe you ever find yourself like, I may want that film for that community?
Yeah, for sure. We definitely look at that, and we look at films that fit a very specific niche, and sometimes there'll be 7 films with that specific niche. So you want to find the good one, but yeah, we're always digging into stuff like that. Another one. Well, actually, I'll come back to another one later. But yeah, I mean, I'm always digging into it.
And that's what's cool, because how the films have a lasting impact on Dallas culture. I think when we're bringing in these films, and other festivals are bringing in these films and these filmmakers, and again, to the point is, there's a voice that people that may not have been able to speak. They're like, oh man, I have never seen that on screen. And I always think representation is everything for any group. I mean, we will be heard, and so one way to be heard is to be seen. And I love that when we can find something that we bring in, like we did a South Korean spotlight one year, and I learned a lot about South Korean culture and just Korea in general, like the sort of the rift there between the two halves of that country. And and we've done a German spotlight, we've done Italian, and throughout the year, and every year we also do a Latinx, no matter what, just because of our location. And we're always doing this Latinx section, and it's fascinating how people that are just coming out to see themselves on screen, to see oh man, this matters. And again, Dallas being so international, it makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, no, I agree. And in terms of just lasting culture, a lot has happened in the neighborhood of Oak Cliff in the past 10, 12, 15 years, even more so in the past few years with development, the big G word. But when all those things happen, there's more attention to certain neighborhoods, and there's a way that arts organizations can also kind of shine in our neighborhoods, and that's one of the reasons why the Oak Cliff Film Festival doesn't just take place at the Texas Theater. We involve as many art organizations and venues and theaters in Oak Cliff that we can. The Kessler Theater is a fantastic music venue. We do screenings there. Bishop Arts Theater Center is a great nonprofit in a theater that used to be, it was a segregated theater like 70 years ago, called the Bluebonnet Theater. Did you know that?
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I've been there a lot.
Yeah. And it's a great organization right now. And so we do screenings there, and Wild Detectives, which is basically the cultural hub of Oak Cliff right now, with their backyard music and poetry and literary programs. So we like to involve as many of the arts organizations in Oak Cliff, and we hope that is part of kind of the legacy on the neighborhood that we're bringing.
Yeah, and it's to your point. So one thing that we like to say a lot is our festivals work together and we sponsor. So if we're not competitors, we're co-competitors. As long as we're all working together as film festivals, we all kind of communicate. We actually put together Bart Weiss over at Dallas Video helped put together this giant festival of festivals where we all get together and show our best works once a year. So it's really great that we do share these other things. Like we work both with the Denton Black Film Festival, which is outside the city, but they do bring in a good market. And then we also, whether it's the South Asian Film Festival or Asian Film Festival, and we just combining with all of these audiences that come together in some big, babble, if you will, like a film festival of Babel is what we create. And it's really amazing to showcase this culture that people come to town. People come to Dallas sometimes if they don't know the city. They're thinking Dallas Cowboys, Dallas Mavericks, and big hats and cowboys, and everybody riding around with the six gun. And then they get here and they go, oh man, this is amazing. What a vibrant art scene. And I think the film festivals here have contributed to that over the last 10 to 25 years.
Yeah, I think, and credit to the leadership of Dallas and recent mayors and the current Dallas Arts Office of Arts and Culture, which really tries to encourage all sorts of arts events in Dallas and film events. They recognize film as one of their big things. So I think also kudos to the city of Dallas for that.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, from the beginning to
how have our film festivals changed over the years? So I would say, the Oak Cliff Film Festival, this is our 10th year this year. We counted last year as a year, James. I don't know if we should have done that, but we did. Obviously last year, not a lot of things happened, but we did a very small virtual program where we brought out some of our we played the hits of some of our recent filmmakers over the years. But this year is our 10th program, and we're doing it full on at 50% capacity, by the way. So full on at half capacity. But the recent people going out and wanting to experience culture, I think, is going to help and getting out of the house. So we're excited to do it again in person. But I would say just our big thing has always been this year. It's bring it back, but also to grow our festival. Without getting unnecessarily large, but I mean grow in terms of attendance and different kinds of films and diversity, inclusion as well, and just getting the word out to other parts of Dallas, right? So getting words out past maybe the Oak Cliff and Lake Highlands, Lakewood, get maybe somebody in Richardson doesn't know about us. So we want people outside of kind of the what do we call it? The loop, outside of the loop. People outside, people who drive to the other airport. We want those people. No, just kidding. We want everyone who only flies out of left field. Faust, what do you think in terms of? I mean, obviously, you guys have had lots of changes because just your organization has changed.
Yeah, just from through the names at all. Like when this particular organization started as AFI Dallas and gone into Dallas International, I'd say probably the most notable change. Actually, a couple of changes. One is that we did lean into the international, lean into country spotlights a lot more, and working with different consulates that are either here in Texas or here in Dallas, or just somewhere we've been when, because we attend other festivals around the country and the world, and we go talk to people. So including that as a way to boost sort of a culture initiative. And then actually the length of the festival, to your point, it's one thing to be a big festival if it's sustainable, both from a manpower perspective and just a city, the amount the city can take. In a city like Dallas, there's a lot going on, and you're fighting for attention, eyes, and dollars. And when we were started out as an 11-day festival, I mean, that it's epic, and staff would just get burned out. I mean, Sundance is 11 days, but they got like a $90 million budget. I mean, it's a whole other world. So when you're that big, you start thinking, hey, are we doing a disservice to the city by watering things down, by just playing everything? So about 3 years ago, 3 years ago, we decided to let's pare this down and find a good mix. So we went from an 11-day festival to an 8-day festival. Just got rid of that second weekend. And it made a world of difference. We're able to, spotlight, and you get this. I mean, there's not a lot of room for fluff and anything else in the festival. So everything is an event when you're doing something like that. Like, this is all there. So that was probably the biggest change in the last, oh my God, we should be talking about skipping a year. We went to drive-in last year and a little online. So I'd say this is supposed to be our 15th year coming up. Are
you changing the numbers, or are you skipping the year? I don't
know. I think I'm gonna ask the board about that.
That's a board decision.
You put an asterisk on there,
yeah.
So yeah, I'd say that. Oh,
so Faust, this name of the show is Lead with Love. What does Lead with Love mean to you?
Wow, it's tough. I'd like to say Lead with Love is to lead with respect and with a reverence for whatever you're particularly leading. If like in our instance, we're a film festival, so I want to respect you and I want to respect the audience. I want to respect my peers, and I want to, when we're working together, I want to work together instead of against each other. So I'd say never go in anything. Lead with Love means not to go in it with nefarious intentions, but to go in there with with all good intentions.
Yeah, I was looking into the name of the show, and the only other things that come up in the world are, if you're not leading with love, you're leading with fear, which is obviously not what you want to do. So my thought is, just to lead with confidence when you're having your event, when you're talking to your people, listening to your people who are working with you or for you or volunteering, and getting feedback that from the whole team to help make decisions, and then construct decisions based on the feedback of your team. Also, to me, it's dealing with problems constructively versus destructively. If there's something that comes up, there's quick ways to throw your hands down and move on. But there's also ways to figure out what the problems are and empower your people to solve them. So I think Lead with Love means that to me.
Cool. Oh, all right, here we go. We were talking about this rapid fire or not so rapid fire Q&A. I have no idea on this first question.
What's your walk-on song? Come on. When you're playing baseball?
Okay, actually,
I don't know. Do you play baseball? I used to play baseball.
Yeah.
I was thinking about this. I think so. Mine only because I've been listening. We're showing this movie about Trini Lopez called My Name is Lopez, which Dallas's Trini Lopez, who unfortunately passed this year. And what I didn't know about Trini Lopez is before he was famous with the kind of music he played in the early 60s, he actually wanted to be like Buddy Holly. And his first couple records that he recorded in Dallas were like, Buddy Holly pop old school rock and roll, and one of his first songs is called The Right to Rock. I recommend you listen to it, and that's what I'm going to listen to as I'm coming up bat and forth for the Rangers, because I think they could use me.
They could definitely use you. Mine's almost a little it's almost obscure. There's a secret note that people don't know, maybe do know. I'm a big Linkin Park fan, and there's a song
I didn't know that
for a movie called What I've Done, and it sort of sounds like the beginning of it sounds like, and the end of it sounds like the John Carpenter theme to Halloween.
Oh yeah,
it's got that like that going on. Then it gets into this really cool. Then these drums kick in, and there's this really 3-chord guitar rip, bump, bump, and I'm thinking, yeah, there it is. So yeah, I'd say what I've done, because if I'm going up the bat, it's what I've done.
That's good. Faust, what's your hashtag? You always hashtag yourself, right? You're a big hashtagger.
Man, I don't know. Hashtag always hungry.
Hashtag always hungry. My hashtag has to be OCFF 2021, which you should all follow, because that is what's happening with the Oak Cliff Film Festival, June 24th to June 27th.
Yes, always be selling.
That's what I'm going with. That's what I'm going with. What's our next one? Oh man, what's your favorite restaurant, Faust?
Favorite restaurant in Dallas? I'd say, oh good God. I know what it is. I'll say, yeah, it's like my wife's starting now. Used to be in Oak Cliff. It used to be Bolsa before they shut down.
You know, there's Bolsa is still there, sort of. They just rebranded it, and it's called something else. And it's almost the same menu. So I recommend going to that.
I'll hit that. But right now, I'd say it's Mat Bahai, and
Mat Bahai.
My Vietnamese place in Lakewood. And my favorite dish there is, ever since I saw it in the Andrew Garfield Spider-Man movie, the dish they were eating called branzino, and I'm like, what the hell is branzino? And so I've had branzino probably 22 times since that movie came out. So I get the branzino at the Mat Bahai.
I'm going with Campese's. I'm an old school Dallas guy. I go to the original Egyptian Campese's, and I just get spaghetti, and I sit in the side. Maybe I might get the combo spaghetti, and I get the crab claws.
Oh, the crab claws are the best. Oh, any place that serves crab claws, just give me the crab claws.
Just like a bucket of butter.
Yeah.
That's where we're going.
Always hungry.
Why? How do we not get Campese's to sponsor our film festivals?
I don't know. We'll work that out.
Why should people come to Oak Cliff Film Festival? Is because it's to me, it's like it's the biggest thing post-pandemic that you will go to in Dallas with a limited capacity, safely, by the way. But no, we have a great program this year. I encourage everyone to check it out. Our URL is joinocff.com. Lots of great films. You can get a badge, or you can just get individual passes if you want to see individual films. Again, screenings at the Texas Theater, which we're in the middle of adding upgrades to, which is exciting. Kessler Theater, Bishop Arts Theater Center, Wild Detectives. Lots of great films, live music performances. We're doing a big outdoor program this year at a place called 4 Oak Cliff, which is in South Oak Cliff off Ledbetter. This is a great organization. It took over an old YMCA. And we're going to do this live score silent film called The Return of Draw Egan by this band called Montopolis. That is going to play to a film from 1916. It's a Western, and it's Ennio Morricone music. And we're doing that one old school drive-in. So you sit in your car and listen to it on the radio. It's going to be a lot of fun. So I hope you guys all come out.
Okay. I'd say for us, we're October 8th through the 15th. So it's a new time of the year for us. It's a little bit of everything. The plan is to be downtown Dallas, so we're going to have theaters there, and hopefully be using the Texas Theater again for some really cool anniversary screenings that we're working on. Cool. That'll be pretty big. It's a little bit of everything for us, and it's always a big week-long party. So for every indoor thing that's happening, there's going to be some live music outside. There's going to be outdoor drive-in things on our drive-in theater, which is down in South Dallas. So near the Four Corners lot, thanks to the DPA for that. So yeah, it's going to be, we're going to be a little bigger than we've been in the last couple of years, only because we're going to be adding in films that we didn't have from 2020, and we're holding on that hadn't even released. So there's going to be a lot more. And then we're part of our diversity inclusion. We're actually championing new things. We're bringing back a social justice category, a social justice award with the Silver Heart, and we're bringing in a new thing on people with disabilities. We're going to be working with a couple of local people that work in that world, and we'll have films and conversations about people with disabilities. And there's one movie that we have that's completely the crew, most of the crew and all the actors, with the exception of a few here and there, are all people with disabilities. So we're excited to be sharing that film and moving forward in that field.
Sounds like a good program coming up.
Yeah.
Faust, what's your favorite airport?
Well, I love field. Yeah.
Well, I was going to say I learned a lot of things about new airports this year because we did a lot of pop-up screenings in city-owned airports this year. I learned about the executive airport. I'd never been there before. But my favorite is Love Field. Come on, you got to go there.
Hands down, hands down. Easy to get in and out of,
Yeah.
and it's a short Uber or Lyft or e-car from my house. I'm like, yeah, it's good. That's good. We have some audience questions coming up here. So Q&A. Let's see here. What's one piece of advice you'd give your younger self?
Is that for you? You should do that one. You should. Mine is give up on the filmmaking thing early. Do showing the movies. Everyone always asks. I used to make movies, but no one watches those. It's more fun to show people movies.
I still have both of your. I still have Prison to Go-Go and oh my God, Hell.
Corn Man.
No, the other one with we
Blood
played
on the Highway.
Blood on the Highway. Yes, sir. Yeah, Blood on the Highway. I still have those two films on DVD. So thank you for those. I would say buy Apple stock to my younger self.
Oh yes. Or as a flip side, which I sell all your Apple stock to improve your theater when when your budget it goes out of whack.
Favorite film snack.
I actually, I haven't been. I mean, I've been going to the theater all year. To be honest, I've been going to the Inwood a lot. But for a minute there, after we opened, but waiting for other movies to come out, and there wasn't a lot that I was super excited about. But we went and saw A Quiet Place last night, and we just had the official movie snack dinner. Just popcorn with Twizzlers and peanut M&Ms inside of it, and just shake it up. So I'm going with that. What about you?
I'm pretty simple. Gummy bears. All things gummy bears.
Yeah.
Oh, come on. This is the worst. Favorite all-time movie?
Whenever this question comes up, I always try to throw it back at the person and be like, can you reframe that? Like, favorite movie when the main character has two heads, or a favorite movie where there's like a car race and three explosions, or give us, we watch so many movies. We have me and Faust probably have a favorite for every specific genre. So this is a better one. This was a little bit formatted. What's your favorite movie you've seen at a festival? And to me, I think my favorite, the one after I saw it at Sundance a few years ago, and I was like, this is the best movie I've ever seen in a festival. It's probably Mandy. When I saw Panos Cosmatos Mandy at Sundance a few years ago. And I even was at the trade screening, there wasn't people at our screening, and it was that's gotta be it for me. What about you, Faust?
I'm gonna say it's a tie. The two world premieres, one was at Cannes in 2000 and something called The Good, the Bad, and the Weird, a crazy Korean action film that's absolutely just bonkers. And the other was world premiere of Juno, after I had met the director. Oh gosh, Jason. Oh my God, I can't think of his name right now. Jason Reitman. Yeah, Jason Reitman. Just about maybe 6-7 months before that, maybe a year before that, on another film. It was one of the last films of the Deep Ellum Film Festival, actually. And I went to see that with him, and I was in there. We had a conversation, and we talked. They sat down with a hat. And I remember thinking that crowd was nuts for that movie. I mean, absolutely nuts. And the rest is history. Yeah. So
is that because that's favorite movie festival? I'm also, sometimes when I hear that, I'm like, what's your favorite film experience? What at a festival?
Yeah.
Would that be that for you, or is there a different one, or most memorable? Because my most memorable, I have two. If I can do it real quick, mine as I was at the world premiere of In the Mood for Love at the Cannes Film Festival, the palais and the red carpet and everything. Yeah. And I was and I passed out, and I remember the beginning and I remember the end when everybody was cheering.
People didn't know that festivals are work. You're up and you're running around a long time, so it's a lot of work. I think we got to hurry to.
No.
Okay, well, there's a bunch of questions here. Last one. What movie describes your life? Whoa. I'd rather answer the question.
Not In the Mood for Love. Person. No, that's a tough one, man. That's actually a good question. And that's the kind of one that I'd have to come back to this question.
Yeah, I couldn't even begin to. Sunset Boulevard.
Sunset Boulevard. All right. That's a good one.
I think I'm just gonna throw that in there and let people like dream that one. I'm like, isn't the guy dead at the beginning? Yeah.
That's a good one. I don't have one. I'm gonna have to come back to this one.
This whole thing, the whole world's a simulation.
There you go.
Oh, and now comes the time to say goodbye.
All
Okay.
right. That's how we sign off.
Yeah, well, no. So, Barak and the Lead for Love guys, thank you very much for having us today. I mean, this is a lot of fun. I always love when I get to talk to Barak and promote. So, when is your festival again?
Our film festival is June 24th to 27th. Go check it out, filmoakcliff.com. And thanks again to Lead with Love and Dallas Left Field for having us on. Thank you, Faust, for inviting me to be your co-host on this episode. So I appreciate it. And thanks.
All right. And don't forget to join me at dallasfilm.org. You can check us out. We're still taking submissions for the 15th or 14 and a half Dallas International Film Festival. And don't forget to check every episode of Lead with Love on the Lead with Love podcast on Spotify, Pandora, Apple, and iHeartRadio. Thanks, guys. And I really appreciate Oh, my God. I did that thanks, guys thing. I said never do guys on a podcast. Hey, guys. No, just bye, guys.